Father Lawrence, our community for Christian meditation has emerged from the teaching on meditation by Father John Main. And John Main himself had cancer at a relatively young age, of, and you were his primary caregiver, in his dealing with the challenge of cancer. Can you share with us your experience of in your caring for Father John, how he, as a meditator, dealt with the challenge of cancer?
Yes, I think I'll try to do that. Father John dealt with his cancer and with his approaching death at a young age of 56, when he was in the fullness of health and vigor and starting a new community with a lot of energy and a lot of hope for the future. He dealt with that in a very human way. What happened was that in 1979 he was diagnosed with colon cancer, and they seem to have caught it at an early stage. And so the surgery was very straightforward and very successful, and everybody breathed a big sigh of relief, and we felt that he was going to recover and have many years of active life. But at the beginning of 1982, the cancer returned, first of all in the lungs, and then metastasized widely. And so he died in December the 30th, 1982. And really he was in good health, in a sense, in good vigor, almost until the end, although he had in the last few months he had some severe pain. But he was still able to give his last talk, I think maybe 2 months before he died. So I think the progress of the disease was quite rapid, and so we had to make adjustments quite quickly during that last year. And I think he certainly went through the experience of fear, and I think we all do that. What I learned from going through that with him was that this experience of fear is at our very human level, almost, maybe even almost at our animal level. We just it's a natural reaction. It's to a threat to life, that we panic, or we go into a different mode of response. But then I saw him deal with that from a very deep faith and a very deep practice and a very deep inner experience of God. And he accepted the advice of the doctors. He went through the treatment they recommended. We had our normal hopes and expectations, and we had our inevitable disappointments when we found that the treatment wasn't working. But then I saw him adapting at each stage to what was obvious, what was inevitable. He didn't anticipate that until it was clear, or pretty clear, that the treatment wasn't going to work. And then it was as if, not that he gave up, he didn't give up or give in that sense, but it seemed to me the best way I had to describe it was that he collaborated with the process. He accepted it, and he didn't fight it, but recognizing the inevitable, he was very conscious, and I think he didn't tell me what to do, for example, although our community was very new and small at the time and quite fragile, and he had a very strong sense of how it might grow and of the future. We knew we were starting something new, and for him suddenly to be taken out of it at this stage seemed to me, you know, apart from my own feelings about his dying, it seemed to me a real crisis of what was going to happen. And so I said to him once, you know, what shall I do, when we were speaking about the fact that his time was very limited. And he thought for a few moments, and he looked at me very, very gently, really, and he said, well, you'll do what you've got to do. And at the time, it didn't seem an answer, you know, I wanted some definite instructions. But, and then afterwards, I forgot. I didn't think about what was going to happen afterwards, because I was just completely absorbed in caring for him.
So he wasn't sort of making elaborate plans for the future of the community or for the future of the teaching. He was more concerned about living in the present, sort of dealing with the challenge of the disease.
I think he was plunging. I think he plunged very deeply into the mystery of it, because it was a mysterious thing. Why should he found he had cancer and was going to die? At this point, very fruitful, creative and optimistic point in his life and his work. And I think that was a mystery, inevitably. So I think he just plunged, he let go into that. And the deeper he went into it, the more certain he became that it would be all right, that that the will of God would be done through him and in this way. This was the way it was going to be done. It wasn't what he expected, it was going to happen another way. And I felt this certainty, you know, we might say it's a strong faith, but it was a certainty, really. It was contagious, because it gave me great confidence. I didn't understand it, I didn't know what was going to happen, and I still felt that just the immediate pain and anxiety of it. But this certainty was very contagious, and I think, you know, in a way it begins in the person who's suffering, yes, as you described. And then it communicates itself to those who are closest to you, because those closest to you go through it with you. And I felt I didn't, yes, in a real sense, I went through what he was going through, and picked up that deepening certainty that he had. So I felt at peace even after he died, and I thought, well, we will just continue. Yes. We'll continue our times of meditation in the community. Yes. We'll continue with the meditation groups. In fact, we came back from the funeral. We went down to New York State from Montreal for the funeral, and we came back in time for the Monday meditation group, so we didn't actually even interrupt the sequence of the meditation groups, and that seemed to be the thing to do. And